Okay, so this is day two, or I'm posting the information from day two. Day two, the theme or the topic for day two is the attitudes of the heart. And with the attitudes of the heart, basically, God is saying that we have to check our hearts. The Word of God says, for out of the abundance of the heart, our mouth speaks. And not only do our mouth speaks, but our hands, they do what they do. Our feet do what they do. We do what we do because of what's in our heart. And so today, God is basically giving us a gut check, a gut check of our heart, because our actions as well as our words, they are derived from our heart. So if our actions are at fault, then so is what is in our heart. We can't separate it. And so basically, we have to be honest. And this is an honest process that we're in. This 40-day fast is an honest process that we're in. We're not hiding anything. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're being honest. And definitely day two is a day of honesty. Checking what's in your heart. And something else that is important here. We have to call things just what they are. We have to call sin, sin. If I'm wrong, then I am wrong. No excuse about it. If I have said something incorrectly, and I shouldn't say incorrectly, but if I have said something offensive or anything of that nature, regardless as to why I said it, I have to take responsibility, and say, okay, Cindy, that was vile. That was vile. And as much as it may not sound pleasant to hear, that thing that spewed out of my mouth came straight from my heart. And so we have to check our heart. We have to check our heart. Even the pity pat things that we do, well, if you say this to me, then I'm going to say something to you to get under your skin, to dig you in a place that it hurts, or to, just to get you back. And whether it's our words or whether it's our actions, we have to understand that those things reflect what is truly in our heart. No one can see our heart. But everything that we do every single day, all of our words, all of our actions, they are an x-ray of what is in our heart. They're an x-ray of what is in our heart. And if we do not deal with those things honestly, if we don't deal with them honestly, then we can never bring about change. Change will never come about. So often, we have become accustomed, and we've gotten in the habit of hiding things, covering it up, not talking about it, or calling it something else. Sometimes we believe that, well, if I call sin something else, then it's really not sin. And whenever we do things like that, it actually gives us leeway in our mind that, okay, this is okay, as long as I don't call what I'm doing sin. Because when you start calling something sin, that means that I have to check myself. And we live in a time where we don't want to check ourselves, and we don't want other people checking us, even though we could be 1,000% dead wrong. And so this is a heart check. This is a heart check. Your actions, your words, they come straight from your heart. Regardless as to the reason behind them, your words and your actions come straight from your heart. Whatever is in your heart, it's going to come out in what you do and what you say. No doubt about it. There's absolutely no way around it. So if you don't like the actions, if you don't like your actions, and if you don't like your words, it's time for a heart check. You have to do a heart check, because if your actions are wrong and your words are wrong, that's because there's something going on in here that we need to check out. There's something going on in here that we need to check up on. And unless we're willing to be honest and be true and check our heart, listen. And I don't want to say this lightly. Regardless as to what your spouse, and I'm using spouse because we're talking about marriage and family. So regardless as to what your spouse or your children say or do, the way that you respond, the way that you react, the things that you do, they are a true reflection of what is in your heart. The Word of God says, again, the Word of God says, out of the abundance of the heart, I'm going to tell you something. And whatever I tell you, the words of my mouth, if they're good, it's because there's goodness in my heart. Now, if my words are sprinkled with envy and jealousy and strife and all of these other kinds of things, it's because I need a heart checkup. I need to check what's in my heart, the attitude of our hearts. Go with me quickly to Matthew 15. And again, I'm reading out of the New King James Version Study Bible. So Matthew chapter 15, and I'm going to read verses 16 through 20. And it begins. Well, actually, I'm gonna start at 16. You all can go back and read the entire chapter of Matthew 15:20, and that way you'll get a better understanding, a clearer understanding as to exactly what's going on. So I'm starting in verse 16, and it says, So Jesus said, "Are you also still without understanding?" And read chapter 15 and you'll get a clear understanding of what's going on right here. So verse 16 says, So Jesus said, "Are you also still without understanding? Do you not yet understand that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and is eliminated?" So the stuff that goes into your mouth, it's going to go into your stomach, and sooner or later it's going to be pushed out. We do it every day. It's a natural process. So what goes into your mouth, it's going to come out. What goes into the mouth goes into the stomach, and sooner or later it comes out of the body. All right, so verse 18 says, "But those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and they defile a man. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemy. These are the things which defile a man." So let us check our heart. And the way to check our heart is not by looking at our heart, but looking at the things that come out of our heart. Looking at how we respond and how we react to our spouse, how we respond and how we react to our children. Those are the things that's in our heart. Our actions, they come from a place. We don't act a certain way just because we are a certain way. No, we act a certain way because it's coming straight from our heart. And our heart is who we really are. Our heart is who we really are. So, in order to change the output, in order to change what's coming out of our heart, we have to change what's going into our heart. To change what comes out, the actions, the words, the thoughts, in order to change that, we have to change what we're putting into our heart. Because whatever our heart is full of, that is what is going to come out in our thoughts. That's what's going to come out in our actions. And that is what comes out in our words. And our words, our thoughts, and our actions, they make a tremendous difference in not just our marriage and our family, but in our entire life. So we have to be honest with ourselves during this process. Call sin, sin. Call sin, sin. And check the attitudes of our heart. Call sin, sin. Don't call it anything else except for what it is. We've been calling sin everything else except for what it really is. And because of the fact that we have been calling it so many other things than what it really is, it enables us to continue doing it without feeling, without any type of conviction. A bad attitude, we're able to continue in that process. And not just with our spouses or with our family, but we take that attitude out into the world, out into, our public life. And we're not convicted about it. We're not convicted about it. We're not convicted at all about it. We're not ashamed about it. We don't see a need for changing any of those things. And the reason we don't see the need for changing is because we do not call it what it is. We don't call it what it is. If every time you flew off the handle, you got an attitude, and I'm talking about an attitude. Every single time you got an attitude, every single time you did what you knew you shouldn't have done. If you told yourself, if you keep telling yourself, self, do you know that what I just said actually came from my heart, and that shows me exactly the state and condition of my heart? Ooh, that's a gut check right there. That's a gut check right there. But we haven't been checking ourselves. We haven't been checking ourselves. And so for so long, it's been okay to just do you, boo. But doing you, boo, isn't always right. It isn't always right. And so that's why we end up in situations and in circumstances and wonder how we get there, how we got there. Well, we got there because that's what was in our heart. Guys, day 2, the attitudes of the heart. Be honest. Call it exactly what it is. If you don't call it what it is, you will never change it. If you don't call it what it really is, you will never change it. And take responsibility. Take responsibility. One thing that my pastor says, when it comes to offense is, no one can offend me unless I allow them to. So if no one can offend me unless I allow... Number one, do you see how much power I have? You can't offend me. No one can offend me. No one can offend you unless you allow them to. That's the power that you have within you. So stop responding to things out of emotions. Because sometimes when you respond to things out of emotions, I'm talking about it just flips the situation all into the wrong place. Guard your heart. Guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. And out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth is going to tell you exactly who you are, and your actions are going to show you exactly who you are. And if you don't like the things that are coming out of your mouth, If you don't like your actions, check the attitude of your heart. Check the attitude of your heart. Hope and healing. The hope and healing that is coming to you, that is coming to your life, that is coming to your marriage, that's coming to your family. It starts with you. And we have to check the attitude of our heart. Guys, I love you. This is the video for day 2. Again, email me at 40days@CynthiaMcClary.com. Share the video. Put your comments there. Send us your testimonies, your prayer requests. I love you guys, and I will see you soon.